of how y'all can put y'all money together and go from being broke to not broke and not be struggling. And it's like a 10 to 20 year plan. So if you the average relationship is 1 year, 5 months, and 6 days. And if y'all can look at a $80,000 in the bank account in a year and a half, you're gonna be like, fuck that. I'm gonna fix this relationship because you ain't never had $80,000 in your bank account. Anybody dating a chick, anybody dating a dude, looking at their stock option like, shit, I just stacked 80 bands in a year and a half. Like, I might as well stay with this person. We can figure out whatever the hell is going wrong because if I stay like this for 11 more years, that's $800,000. You just spent 30 years of your life and ain't never seen that kind of money sitting, not being spent. Because I know a lot of us, we'd have made that much money in a year, but how many of us have held on to that much money in a year and not had to spend it? All right. We getting there. But let me go ahead and get started with this so that y'all can see what we got going.
I accidentally saw a text from my friend's BF. So I asked to borrow my friend's phone to book an Uber since my phone's dead, and I saw an SMS from her boyfriend pop up saying he will break up with her if she gets bigger like I did. Weirdly, I wasn't offended for myself because my weight gain was due to my pose, but I was worried for my friend. Should I say something? WSID. Update. My friend 28F reached out and told me it kind of bothered her too. She said she knows I saw the text while I was trying to get an Uber and apologized. In verbatim, she said, my boyfriend would also like to apologize to you if you were offended. I then replied with, yeah, I accidentally saw the text messages. I was only slightly offended for me. I'm more offended for you, because if my boyfriend told me my worth would be less than it is if I ever gained a few pounds, I'd dump him. I didn't say anything because that's none of my business. Second update. I didn't ask, but she shared to me their text exchange. I couldn't share it here because it's in another language. Basically, it was her boyfriend, 29M, who initiated the conversation saying, Joy is so fat now, what happened? My friend explained I have POS and an autoimmune condition. Her BF became more curious, so my friend sent him details from ChatGPT. My friend added that she also has irregular periods and acne, which may be signs of POS as well. That's when the text message I saw came, I would leave you if you gain any more weight like Joy. I'm relieved that my friend didn't talk sh asterisk asterisk about me. Third and final update. My friend and I saw each other yesterday to talk about this. We're okay. I still don't know how to feel about her BF though. Also, to anyone assuming that I have an unhealthy lifestyle, I just feel obligated to explain that I do CrossFit and hit 3 times a week at least, which is harder with rheumatoid arthritis, and I do my 10K steps in between. I only eat twice a day. I don't consume sweets and I don't drink soda. My weight is currently at 160 pounds, clothing size US size 8 to 10. Your idea of obese is not the same as
Tell
what
them,
we
Mike.
have in Asia. I take a lot of supplements to regulate my hormones on top of my lupus medications, which are mostly steroidal. I accidentally saw a text from my friend's BF. So I asked to borrow my
Oh
friend's
Lord,
phone to
hold
book
on.
an Uber since my
It went up there twice.
reached out and told me it, which
Let
may
me
be
get let
signs
me
of
get past
POS
that
as
because
well.
she over here telling.
That's when
Because
the
I
text
got some
message
shit
I
to say.
saw
Happy New
came.
Year, Michael.
Ex
All right, there it
fiance.
is. That's the one. That's the next one. Okay, so I wasn't expecting that. So they said Asian because when she said 160, I was about to be like, bitch, that ain't fat. I shouldn't call it that, but that ain't fat. Okay, so because looking at me, I'm not that buff of a dude, and I'm like 165. So a female that would have this size would be about 155, 165 pounds. They would call themselves fat, but y'all not fat. Y'all healthy. Y'all want to be 120 pounds, but that look anorexic. You need to eat. She talking about she only eat twice a day. I'm gonna be real with you. Your body stores more fat when you space out your eating. So any weight problem you have is going to be worse because you're starving yourself. If you want to look, he said she 4'2". Yeah, in Asia she 4'2". 4'2" at 160 pounds would be a little bit thick, but at the same time, in America, that would be highly attractive. That would be highly attractive. Guys are looking at girls that are 4'2", 100. Look, they're looking at girls that are 5'2" at 175, 180 pounds. They getting these black women right now that a 5'5", 5'6" is 194 pounds, thick in the waist, big chest, double D's. These men, they going after it. These women are not ugly. They got an ugly attitude sometimes, but they're not ugly. They're not obese. Obese is like 204 for a female. Like anything under 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds is considered obese. You know what I mean? But the thing is that when you're on a diet, people think that if I eat less, I will lose weight. But that's not true. The fact is that if you eat less more often, your body will not store as much fat because it will always burn off something that you're eating. Now, here's the funny, because I got a plate of food right here. I was just sitting over here cracking open some crackers. I'm sitting over here. I got a big ass bowl of beef stew. I've been eating all goddamn day in order to maintain the 165. You feel me? But let's talk about what she said. Oh, black women. Special shout out to Michael. Black women getting butt implants. Everybody with no sense and low self esteem running out there getting them Nicki Minaj booty implants, and I'm just trying to tell them I don't think that y'all need to do that because if you had a nice tiny apple bottom, you need to go ahead and keep that because dudes like that too. Dudes ain't got no problem if you a A cup or a triple D cup. The stuff that y'all do to change yourselves to be considered attractive, y'all don't really need to do that. Y'all can save a lot of money and not do as much stuff and be way more attractive because like gluing the hair in your head, gluing the stuff on your eyelashes, your eyelashes would be naturally longer and more beautiful if you didn't glue the fake eyelashes onto it. Because every time you got to peel them eyelashes, you're ripping your natural eyelashes out. That's why you ain't got none. And every time you gotta peel that lace front off, you're ripping hair off your scalp. That's why you don't have none. And you don't always get all the glue residue off your scalp. That's why you're not growing nothing. You know, the stuff that y'all nails are not strong because y'all keep gluing stuff to your nails and then you're using stuff to take it so your nails is weak. That's why your nails ain't long enough. But if you like keratin and biotin would grow out the nails and the hair, you would have longer natural hair. You'd have longer natural nails. Using some clear coat. That way your job ain't complaining about the rhinestones in the damn cheeseburger and shit. And your natural eyelashes. You would save a shit ton of money. That's just one thing. But let's go ahead and touch. He said, I think that Booty is gonna get her a man. Probably so. If she an Asian, I find her. I'm gonna go get her. Um, I don't care what POS she got going on. If you have more than a handful, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. And if you got less than a handful, at least I can hold it. I'm perfectly satisfied with that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But let's go ahead and talk about what she said. She said first, the man said that if his girlfriend get bigger like her, that he gonna leave her. Now, there's no nice way for a man to tell a woman what he thinks and how he feels. Women will be offended by everything that a man says that she disagrees with. She will not listen to what he says. She will not take it into consideration. She will not utilize that information to make different decisions. She will just get pissed off that he said it and then potentially retaliate against it, which doesn't help. If the man is attracted to a skinny girl, in a culture where everybody's freaking skinny. We talk about Asia real quick. Asia has fat tax. I'm not shitting you. If you get too big, somebody is gonna have to pay a penalty for that. Either the restaurants you're eating at or you. It is a law out there that you cannot be too big. Now, since the entire culture is a fat tax, everybody's trying to keep themselves at 135 or less, and she at 160. If you get to 185, he gonna leave you. That's what he telling you. Now, you can't control too much of your weight gain if you've got a underactive thyroid and other such issues that causes weight gain. But you have two choices. If he knows that you're not eating as healthy as you could, and that could be causing you to gain weight, you need to rethink how you eat. Not how often you eat, but what you eat. Because starch and sugars will increase your ability to retain fat. You might want to go on a leaner diet. But over in Asia, they got a lot of miso soup and sushi rolls and everything that doesn't have outside of the ramen. The ramen is like the only thing that's starch. The meat that's like pork, beef, like lean. Like there isn't much fat going on with a lot of that food. So if he's telling you what his expectations are, you either ask yourself, "Am I going to adhere to that?" or dump them, like the woman said. But women will get offended by it. I don't think that that's fair for a woman to get offended by a man saying that you can't gain too much weight and still be my girlfriend when a woman can tell a man that you can't talk to me because you're not tall enough, where she can control her weight, but he can't control his height. He could put on flat platform shoes, but that's the best that he can do. If he's 5'6" and he puts 4-inch platform shoes on, now he's 5'10", but you want a 6'3" man. I can't help you because I'm not about to look like Homie the Clown on stilts so that I can be 6'4". I'm 5'6". If I'm too short for you, then okay, I'm gonna push. But if I say that I want a girl that's my size and you're twice my size, if you've got two stomachs where one stomach is overlapping the other stomach, one stomach is under the belt and the other stomach is over the belt, and I tell you that that's not my style, then it's time for you to push. That is what it is. Do you remember Blub and Bubbles as a kid? Look, not the adult name Bubbles, but when we put the Don in the water, because some of y'all had the adult. Hold on. Uh, now, here's the other thing though. She talking about some. I borrowed my friend's phone to call a Uber and I accidentally saw a text. No, the fuck you didn't. You was fishing. You was fishing. Women be nosy. It do not take that long for you to log into Uber and select pick me up from right here. You understand? Oh man, I've told that joke before. I told that joke before at work. Um, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Y'all know it. See, if you trying to pick a destination that's way out over yonder way, it might take you a couple minutes. But if you're saying come get me from right here, and especially if this is a situation where your friend that came to your house by Uber before, you done been to your friend's house by Uber before, if she logging into your account or you logging into her account, you just log in and you just like pick me up from here, take me home, right? Pick me up from here, take me to my friend's house. They got that stuff pre-programmed, right? It's instantaneous. She was lingering on that damn phone, waiting for the Uber, still had the phone in her possession. And before the car picked her up, a text message came in from the boyfriend and she read it. That was nosy. Whatever information, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't give a fuck if it's your friend, your boyfriend, your family member, your child. If you nosy and you go through somebody else's stuff and you find out something negative about you or something negative that impacts you, I'm gonna treat that like acquiring information without a warrant. You did not have a warrant to search and you went in there and found it. It's inadmissible to you being pissed off because you did not find it on an upstanding basis. So since you found it on the covert, you can't be mad at the boyfriend. Now, the friend, like Michael said, not your friend, because this bitch lied to you. Her conversation with him ain't got nothing to do with you because you were just used as an example. He not making fun of you. He not trying to hurt your feelings or nothing. He's telling his girl that based on how you look, he doesn't want his girl to look like you, which is a fair assessment. You could tell me that you come from a culture where you don't like people that's my skin color. I'm not supposed to be offended by that. You don't like black dudes? That's fine, sweetheart. You ain't gotta like black dudes. But you can't tell me that I'm too dark, and then the dude that you dating is look like 1159. We gonna have a problem there. But if you tell me that you know you don't date people my skin complexion, hey, that's an assessment. So if you've got a partner that's out there calling himself trying to get a tan, and your partner tell you, hey, I don't want you to get as dark as him, that's not insulting me. That's using me as a visual observation. I am the standard of which you deem as unacceptable. So I'm not supposed to get pissed off about that. You know, I mean, y'all remember back in the 40s when, people with good tans wasn't allowed to go inside. You know, that's when you're supposed to be pissed off because I'm being judged by the way I look. I'm not being judged. I'm being used as an example. She wasn't being judged. She was being used as an example. However, her friend lied to her. And this is where a friend lied to her. Like Michael said, she come with the bullshit that, oh, my boyfriend wants to apologize. I'm going to tell you something right now. As a man, if I am sorry for what I said, how I said it, or who I said it to, ain't nobody else coming to you telling you that I said, oops, my bad. If somebody else is telling you that I said, oops, my bad, that's because I don't give a fuck about how you feel, and they are apologizing to you to preserve their relationship with you. So they're going to apologize on my behalf so that you and I don't have beef the next time we see each other because I said what I said and I meant it. And if you hurt, they're sorry for me. That's what just happened with this friend. She could have apologized for herself because she feels embarrassed that the girl caught the conversation. But again, she didn't do nothing wrong, so she technically don't have anything to apologize for. As the man, he said what he said and he meant it. It doesn't make it right, but he does not have to apologize for his position. And the girl wasn't offended by it. So in this situation, I don't believe that she should break up with her boyfriend because he said that he has a standard of visual appeal. I don't believe that she should break up with her boyfriend because he said what he said. Her nosy ass friend was going through her phone. Some women are going to say that I'm an asshole for that, but let's think about this. What if y'all was having a conversation and uh two girls was having a conversation, or no, you was having a conversation with your man about how he better get a raise on his job so that he's not as broke as his friend, right? Let's put that conversation out there. Y'all will be like, yeah, your man better not be broke. He better have a good job. He's supposed to be a protector and a provider. If it is fair for you to tell him, don't be as financially unreliable as your friend, then a man can tell a woman, don't be unnecessarily overweight. Plain and simple. He's not bashing her. He's just telling you that based on that, I don't find that attractive. So don't get like that. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Cheated on me at a New Year's party with her male friend, and I'm devastated for wasting time, and nobody will love me anymore. At 32 years old, I thought I was getting ready to marry the love of my life, who's 28 after we spent 6 years together, and I proposed to her last year. We had so many good life experiences together, and I thought she was going to be my soulmate. But now I regret ever thinking that. I got sick recently during the New Year's and was having a high fever, but we were both invited to a party by my friend. I told her to go because I sincerely trusted her. He texted me a video during the night showing my ex-fiancé make out with another guy, and that destroyed me. I was so angry when she came back home later that night. I was still awake, sitting on the couch with my phone in my hand. I didn't yell or throw things. I just asked her straight up who the guy was. She froze for a second, then tried to play dumb. I showed her the video. That's when the excuses started. She said it meant nothing, that it was just a kiss with her friend, and she didn't even remember it clearly. I told her I trusted her enough to let her go while I was sick and vulnerable, and she threw it away in one night. I said I couldn't look at her anymore and that I needed her out of my place. She started crying, saying it was late, asking where she was supposed to go. That's when something in me snapped. I told her to grab what she could and get the fuck out. I wasn't going to sit there all night listening to
Uh-oh.
apologies that didn't change what she did. This wasn't a
Gotcha,
mistake.
brother.
It was a choice. She packed a bag, still crying, still trying to hug me, and I stepped back. I watched her walk out the door and drive off into the night. The silence
Mm-hmm.
afterward was brutal. I didn't feel strong or proud. I felt wrecked. I don't know if anyone will love me again, but I do know I couldn't stay with someone who could do that to me and come home like nothing happened.
Okay. So let me go ahead and touch base a little bit of this. So um that is a pity party right there. Woo will always mean nobody will love me again. First of all, you ain't did nothing wrong. So everybody had no problem with loving you again because she fucked up. You didn't fuck up. So I don't understand why you over here trying to act like a little bitch and have a pity party. Be a man about it. You broke up with her. You stood up for yourself. That's what an alpha man would have did, or a sigma man, or Delta man, any man with who got self respect for himself, see his girlfriend out there making out with somebody else would have said, "Nah, hell no, the relationship is over." And if it's your house and she's not willing to stand her ground in your house, talking about some squatters' rights, and she's gonna pack her bag and voluntarily leave instead of forcing you to evict her, fuck, you did a good job. You let her go. This is the situation. Okay, he said it's difficult to impossible to insult me as a white man. I'm just not as sensitive about things. Well, congratulations, Plymouth. I appreciate hearing that. So when I say some stuff, I know that you won't get offended by it. I don't usually say anything that offends anybody that's not a female because women are the only ones that don't like what I have to say. Um, it just sounds like a Tinder story. Well, it should be. He should be scrolling through Tinder right now trying to find somebody else. Look, let me tell you something. First of all, he fucked up because he let her go to a New Year's party without him. I'm not saying that women aren't allowed to go wherever the fuck they want to go because y'all grown. Y'all can go wherever y'all want to go. But I don't care how bad I feel. You are not going to celebrate one of the most important days of your life without me. Fuck that. I don't care how bad I feel. I will be there, Kleenex in hand, right with you, New Year's, make out thing, probably which was you're thinking about. He said New Year's party, right? Got me twisted because typically what happens is the countdown happens, right? And then after the countdown happens, typically guys try to kiss the closest female next to them. And if she didn't had a couple drinks in her, which is no fucking excuse, and caught her off guard, they might have had a kiss. And if there was something going on, there was a damn right he's insecure. There was like some kind of bond between them, an emotional bond that she never acted on. When he started making out with her, she was like, oops, and just kind of fell into it. But when she caught herself, it was too late because somebody else videotaped it from across the room and sent it to him and told him, oh, she was out there smoochy smoochy with somebody else. But if he would have been there, she wouldn't have been smooching with nobody else. And it was just a kiss. Does that make it right? No. Could it lead to something more? Yes. Did it go any further than that? No. She wasn't blowing the dude or anything like that. They just made out for the New Year's kiss scenario that should not have happened. Personally, y'all do need some time apart, but y'all could fix this kind of situation. Apologizing doesn't always fix these things. He's not going to have the kind of trust for you that he had before. But the fact is that I have seen worse scenarios occur and a relationship still lasts. So this New Year's kiss is like a one-off kind of thing. But bro, you should have kind of been there because what do we do for New Year's Eve? We go somewhere, we get drunk, we lower our inhibitions, which allows us to make bad decisions because we can use the excuse in the morning that we were drunk. Then we go places that we're not supposed to go and do stuff that we're not supposed to do because we're under the influence. We watch the ball drop, we make out with the person next to us, and then we go back to the house. Now, since we know that that's what we're going to do for New Year's Eve, he should know either she stays home with him or he goes out with her, but don't let her go out without him for that type of event because somebody's going to make out with her, especially if she's hot. Now, he She came back to the house. He did the Isley Brothers scenario. Get your stuff before I catch a case. And she packed her bags and she left the house. Stand your ground and leave the shit alone, bro. Don't be sitting over here. Oh, nobody's gonna love me. Not with that fucking attitude. Nobody's gonna love you. Probably why she was making out with the other dude because the other dude was confident about being single. You're not confident about being in a relationship with her. Oh, well, nobody's gonna. So that means that you were with this girl because you didn't think you could do any better. What kind of woman wants to be in a relationship with a man that thinks that he got less than what he deserves? Because your attitude is going to behave that way. It's going to reflect the fact that you thought that you couldn't do any better than this, so you thought that you settled for less, which means your resentment is going to fizzle out on her, which will trigger a negative response where a person might start making out with somebody else because they want to feel validated and appreciated for like 30 seconds out of the 2 years because you got 25 and 26 that you're trying to feel important in this one 30-second kiss because they felt like shit all year because you thought that this is the best that you could do and your resentment shows that you believe that you can do better. Look, you probably brought that kiss on yourself, but you mad at her. You can't look at her no more. I don't know. I don't know. Me, I would just say, hey, look, you kiss somebody that you know. Let me kiss somebody that you know. Let me go kiss one of your female friends. We call it even. Yeah, I mean, like I'm talking about tongue down the back of the throat kind of stuff. Maybe grab a boob and a butt. You know what I mean? I'm gonna negotiate this like your boy off of How I Met Your Mother. He said, being young, you would fight over her. Being old, please take her. Bro, I'm gonna be real with you. When I was young, I ain't fight over my girl. My mama raised me when I was small that you don't fight for what's not yours. And you're not fighting to keep what is yours. You protect what is yours, you defend what is yours. But if it ain't yours, there's nothing to protect and there's nothing to fight for. So if she with you, I ain't fighting that because that's not mine. But if she with me, I'm not gonna let her get messed over by you. So if she's standing with me and you acting fool, then I'm gonna bust your ass. But if she over there getting with you, shit, let me get my if you not getting your shit getting out of my house, let me get my shit get out of your house because we don't belong together. You know what I mean? And I was this way back when I was 16. I'm 41 now. This is no, I'm not fighting over no female. Oh, you stole my girl. It wasn't my girl to steal because you can't steal my girl. My girl gonna whoop your ass because she ain't going nowhere. But if you're not my girl, she's gonna leave. She's gonna get with the next guy. What they say, she for the streets. If she for the streets, she ain't mine. He said then she should have gone to the party. Exactly. He should have took his ass to the damn party. Then she wouldn't have been she would have been making out with her boyfriend then. If she willing to kiss him while he's sick, then he should have went with her to the party. Then he wouldn't have had that problem. Sometimes you can avoid certain things. But again, if you trying to turn a hoe into a housewife now and you got her to stay, you are not supposed to give her the opportunity to switch back to her old ways. I'm just trying to tell you. If you had one that was not, because some guys get with a girl because she's a little easy, she's a little sexy, she might have a little bit of reservation, but not right now. If she starts showing reservation with you, when she used to be able to make out with whoever's at the party, you notice she's what they call a lovable drunk. You notice you've been with her for 6 years. You're not supposed to let her go nowhere and get drunk without you because she's going to make out with the closest guy next to her because she's a lovable drunk, right? The lovable drunks are the kind of chicks that'll sleep with a guy just because she's been drunk, not because she likes him, not because she's attracted to him, because the alcohol triggers something in them that makes them want to do stuff that they normally wouldn't do when they're sober. And if you knew that, your role as a man was to protect her from that type of behavior, protect her from her own decisions, and go there and chaperone her behavior at the party. Nope, you had too much to drink. Stay next to me. We're going to do the countdown, get in the car, and go back to the house. Sometimes being a good boyfriend means stopping her from doing stuff that she'll regret. If she respects you, When you stop her from doing something that she'll regret, she will respect you and she'll stop. If she don't respect you, if you try to stop her from doing something that she'll regret, she'll combat you with that until you let her do it, and then she'll regret the fact that she did it. But that's I did my part because I tried to stop you. He said, like most guys, I was a hound dog. Yeah, I was out there too, bro. I was out there too. Now let's go ahead and check on the next one.
I have been with my
Make sure y'all
husband for
like and
10
subscribe.
years, married for 3. We have a 2-year-old child together. Right now I am 32. At first he was clean and took care of himself. He cared about hygiene and we bonded quickly over our love of working out and lifting weights. I'm not even sure when this started, but he's just gross these days. Dandruff all over his shirts, constant bad breath even after brushing his teeth, and just a weird sweaty funky smell all the time. He's also gained a significant amount of weight and doesn't seem to give a shit. He eats whatever he wants and drinks heavy beers about 2 to 3 times a week. I honestly don't even remember the last time we had sex. It's been months. And to be honest, I don't even want to. I've tried to encourage him to, quite frankly, get his shit together. At first it was just here and there. Hey babe, I got this soap you might like, it's in the shower. Or, hey, I got us both some new toothbrushes and mouthwash. That type of thing. But lately I'm at my wit's end. Like, I literally have to tell him to brush his teeth and wear clean clothes. WTF. I don't really know what I'm asking here. Just wondering if anyone else has gone through this and if it's gotten better or worse. We've talked and he says he's not depressed. I've also mentioned therapy. He doesn't straight up say no, but he doesn't seem very interested either. I hope this doesn't come off as being shallow, but honestly, I'm just grossed out by him. We don't even sleep in the same room anymore because his snoring is out of control. I can literally hear him snoring upstairs when I'm downstairs with our child. The snoring wasn't an issue before the weight gain.
Damn right.
I'm positive he has sleep apnea, but when I bring up getting a sleep study and getting this sorted, again he just brushes it off. I just feel like a nag constantly, but it's like, dude, take care of yourself and your health. We have a child and I want him to be around as long as possible, but for him, it's something we'll deal with another day. So frustrating. Most of our conversations about these topics end up in an argument. He says I'm on my high horse and picking at him. And he's probably right at times. Sometimes I can't help but laugh because if me wanting him to be clean and healthy is me on my high horse, then whatever. I don't even know anymore. I feel lost these days. How do couples realistically rebuild attraction and intimacy when one partner has stopped taking care of themselves and becomes defensive when it's brought up, and how do you know what the right next steps are if nothing changes? I've been with my husband.
Again. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go past that one. All right, now let's look at this real quick. First off, he tired. That's gonna be your first problem. He's tired. He tired because y'all got a kid. He's probably doing the best he can to help you with that. And he tired. You tired too, but you're still able to get out there and work out. When he stops exercising, all of the fat that he used to burn exercising is now being stored because he's not burning it off anymore. Muscle memory. So he just has to get the motivation to get back out there and go exercise. But he's not sleeping well because his snoring is probably keeping him awake. It's not necessarily sleep apnea. It could be specifically because he's sleeping in a different bed. It could be one of the things that a lot of people don't think about. We put our pillow under our head, which pushes our head to our chin, which closes our esophagus and then forces us to try to breathe through our nose, which could potentially be clogged from dust in the room, which closes up our sinuses, and then our nasal cavity is closed up and now we can't breathe. Now we're trying to force oxygen into our throat with our chin up against our chest, and our tonsils are rattling back and forward, and that's where the snoring is coming from. If you put the pillow under your shoulder blades, where your head is tilted backwards onto the bed, where your esophagus is open and you can get the clear oxygen into your lungs, you wouldn't be snoring. You would get a deeper sleep. You wouldn't need to spend a bunch of money on sleep apnea. You just change the position of sleeping. Nobody does this. What you do is you go buy the little clippy thing to cover the nose thing, to open the nostrils up further because they're closed up, so that they stop snoring. But their chin is still up against their chest. So bring them back to bed, get them a new pillow because that's probably another issue. Get them a new pillow, bring them back into the room with you, cuddle with your man, let him get some damn sleep, and then take him to the gym with you. That's going to work on the overweight scenario. Now, let's talk about the other scenario, the breath. Now, I was sitting here marinating on that because when you were telling me about the breath, I was sitting over here thinking, well, it could be gingivitis. Because when you have gingivitis, no matter how much you brush your teeth, your gums could use a little bit more attention. Going to the dentist and get your teeth clean can rectify the situation. They're going to give you a mouthwash. And I'm going to tell everybody who's watching the show right now, if y'all not from the old school, Michael knows what I'm talking about when I say if it's burns, it's working. Dr. Scholl's mouthwash used to be out there before Listerine. It's hard to find. You go to Walmart, you find Listerine all over the fucking place, but you gotta pre-order Dr. Scholl's and get that shit delivered to your house. If you use that mouthwash with no additive, it will definitely burn any tooth decay. It'll, well, not all of it, but most of it, and most of the plaque on the teeth and most of the irritation of the gums. It will sterilize a large quantity of the mouth. But if he's got tooth decay, if he's got a rotten tooth, he's going to have bad breath. If he's got any type of gum issue, he's going to have bad breath. And then there's going to be another one. He said he needs to visit a dentist. He does. Um, how many people do you know that have deaded from sleep apnea, died from sleep apnea? I don't know, but there are people who die in their sleep, not necessarily from sleep apnea, but they go to sleep and they don't wake up and they don't necessarily do it from an old age. He said it sounded like a therapist is needed or a friend or increase the life insurance policies. You can't increase the life insurance policies if he's got poor health. You can up up the rates just because you've got enough money to up the rates and assuming they don't reevaluate them, you can just up the policies and don't say nothing. But if you say that you up in the policy because he got poor health, then they're not going to up the policy because they're going to increase the risk, which means they're going to up the premium. So you don't want to tell him that he's got poor health. Now, remember I told y'all eat less more often. I'm eating during the show. Um, the other thing that's going to cause the bad breath, fellas, I want y'all to hear this real quick. So don't nobody know about this. Beer gut. Beer gut. You know what smells worse than stale cigarettes? Spoiled beer. So she said he drinks, he eats whatever he wants, he takes his ass to bed. If you brush your teeth, not your tongue, you're not chugging some mouthwash, maybe swallow a little bit of that junk, kind of clean out your esophagus or whatever, you're likely going to smell like everything that you got. Exactly, beer farts. You're likely to smell like everything that you consumed before you went to bed. You, the person, can't smell how you smell, right? But the other person that's trying to kiss you can, which is why I can't deal with people who smoke. I do not like the smell of stale cigarettes. Now, she said dandruff. I found out recently that outside of psoriasis, dry skin can come from a dry atmosphere. A dry atmosphere can come from, in the wintertime, running your central air in heat because it takes the moisture out of the air and blows off the heat. So, did you know that you could start developing dandruff from the excessive dry skin, from the lack of moisture in your house due to your central air and heat system? So, my advice to you, don't turn off the heat, get you a humidifier. Put the moisture back into the house. In doing so, you will not take as much moisture out of the scalp. You can also get some leave-in conditioners, stuff that he can just add to his head, or yours, girl. You can love your man by massaging his scalp and putting stuff in his head to make his head less dry, but not enough to slop up the pillows when he takes his ass to bed. So there are things that he can do. There are things that you can do to fix this issue, but it requires both of y'all because you love him. You don't want him to die. You want him to outlive your children, right? Well, you want him to live long enough for the children to be adults, and you want to show him that you care without making him feel bad about it. Here's a clue. Now, no woman wants to do this really, but if your guy doesn't shower enough, why don't you go wash him? It's a little bit romantic. I know it's going to feel tedious, but women rarely wash a man. Y'all have not been, because y'all just had a child, y'all have not been as intimate as y'all could be. And y'all could turn this into the type of scenario where y'all can start being a little bit more intimate. Clearly, you're gonna have to get a babysitter because if both of y'all are in the shower, who's watching the child? But the um y'all can put a lot of effort into trying to rekindle something by washing the man up at the same time. There's always a thing, you know? So when you just complain about the fact that it is what it is, and all you've done is complain to him about the fact that it is, and then you try to push him to do things like a therapist. Because while, yeah, you could go to a therapist, notice all of the solutions that I gave you had nothing to do with a therapist, it had nothing to do with insulting the man. It's just like, hey, use that Listerine. Hey, let me rub this in your scalp. Hey, raise your arms. Let me wash your back and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You can wash him head to toe and turn it into something naughty. He'll be looking forward to a shower then. It's just a little bit of effort. You know what I mean? That that soap hand smile. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Happy ending. You know what I mean? And then you don't have to worry about it. But if you just stand back and say I'm unhappy with your resolution, you know what I mean? What motivation does he have? He might not even know, he might not notice that he fell off and you just bitching about it. And then he does not have a solution for it because he's not depressed. He's not frustrated. He just might be a little bit tired and he just doesn't know what to do about everything else because he's too tired to go work out like he used to. But outside of that one scenario, he's doing everything that he's supposed to do as a boyfriend and a father. You should love that shit. Some people don't. I don't really know. All right, let's go ahead and jump on the next one. Y'all remember to like
Wondering
and subscribe up here.
if anyone else has gone through this and if it's gotten better or worse. We've
We gonna
talked
get
and he
down.
says he's not depressed. And he's
We gonna
probably
go
right
ahead.
at times. Sometimes I can't help but laugh because
Time call. I stare at the phone a little longer to see who it was,
Hold
and
on,
I
let me go back a little bit
and he's
because
probably right at times. Sometimes I
we've
can't help
had
but laugh because if me wanting
a
him
few
to
of
be
these.
clean and healthy is me on my high horse, then whatever. I don't even know anymore. I feel lost these days.
Come
How
on,
do
lady.
couples realistically rebuild attraction and intimacy when one partner has stopped taking care of themselves and becomes defensive when it's brought up, and how do you know what the right next steps are if nothing changes?
There you go. All right, now on to the next one.
husband is cheating on me. So I am
There we go.
24 years old, and one day I came home from work around 1:30 a.m. today and went into my bedroom, and my husband, 25M, was asleep. I saw his phone was right next to him and it was on. At first glance I thought his phone was playing a video, and then I realized that he was on a FaceTime call. I stare at the phone a little longer to see who it was, and I saw a woman's fingernail on the screen. He suddenly woke up and I asked who is that, and she quickly ended the video call. I tried grabbing his phone to see what else he had, but he snatched it away and wouldn't let go. He finally confessed that it was a girl that he had recently been talking to from work. He then told
Hmm.
me that he was developing feelings for her after only a few weeks of knowing her. I'm not
Hmm.
sure what to do. Last week we were talking about our relationship and he said he wasn't happy and that we needed to work on our marriage. His reasoning
Oh,
for being unhappy is because I work 2 jobs and we don't spend enough time together. I just
okay.
found out about this girl a few hours ago and I feel like I'm going crazy. We've been married for 4 years.
Okay. Um, hold on.
Love is a choice, not a feeling.
Yes,
People
it is. Hold on before we go there. Um, let's this beast two is gooder than a bitch. Um, he said at least a man's mind would be off that subject for about 15 seconds. You know that. Actually, it might have been 3 minutes because the women don't always do it right. Um, so this chick is sitting over here complaining about the fact that her boyfriend is cheating on her. He ain't cheating yet, but he considering it. He said it. So she FaceTiming him, and fantastic question: do you need to work 2 jobs? If she's got 2 jobs and he's got 1 job, what kind of financial situation y'all in? Because y'all clearly not making enough money between the two of y'all. Maybe y'all downsize and you spend more time at the house, not necessarily at the house doing womanly duties at the house when your man is at the house, so that y'all can pay attention to one another. Because if you got 2 jobs and you can quit one of those jobs and be at work when he's at work, then you can be home when he's at home, and y'all can share the responsibilities at the house, but y'all can do it together. Look, half the women that came to the show was not expecting a man to say that shit. And he wanted us to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. No, chick, I wanted you to scoot over. One of us wash, the other one rinse, and we both dry. We can do this shit together. I can prep the vegetables. You can marinate the meat. We can make this food together and then have dinner together. You know what I mean? One of us can sweep, the other one can vacuum, and we can both mop and dry the floor up. We can do this shit together. It doesn't have to be just her responsibility. But if you there more than I'm there, it should have been done since you had more time to do it than I did. No, because she said that he was cheating on her with a girl from his job. So you wasn't listening to that part. The thing is that if uh she is not willing to change, and y'all have been married for a while. I said this earlier when I was defending the girl making out with the dude for the New Year's party. And now I'm about to say it again for the man that's about to start making out with his coworker. When your relationship is missing something, your partner is likely to find it outside of your relationship. So before you start being an asshole to your partner because they are reconsidering outside of your relationship, you need to start asking your partner, what are they missing in your relationship, so that you can determine if you can fix that. If you can't, let them go. But if you can, fix it. Because let me tell you something. If you were at work and your performance was lacking, your boss would reduce your hours and put somebody else in your position. If you wanted your position back, you would go and talk to your boss. What am I doing wrong? Why is so and so got my spot? Your boss would tell you all the things that you should be doing that you're not doing, and all the things that you should not be doing that you are doing. And if you change those things, you will get your spot back. Now, in your relationship, it works the exact same way. If someone else is starting to take your position, you need to go find out from your spouse what the other person got going for you that isn't being brought to the table by the primary partner. What does she got going on that you don't got? That's what you need to figure out. Special shout out to Javier. He said, what type of job does he have? It don't matter what kind of job he has because if he's a dishwasher and she's a server and they making out on the job, if he's a stock boy and she's a cashier and they making out on the job, if he's a doctor and she's a nurse and they making out on the job, if he's a lawyer and she's a secretary and they making out on the job, if he's a judge and she's the judge's assistant and they're making out on the job, I can keep going with the different kinds of employment that they can have and still be making out on the job. If he's a cop and she's a co-cop and they making out on the job, if they're undercover as a couple and they're making out on the job, all that matters is that he's making out on the job. Now, to circumvent this problem, what you have to do is you need to find out what the hell is going on in your relationship. Is it welcome to Michael's pull forward? But that's what they have to understand. You have to understand what is missing in your relationship. Now, when your partner told you a couple weeks ago that y'all need to work on y'all marriage and you didn't look, then he started looking somewhere else. If your check engine light on your car come on and you don't try to fix that motherfucker, the bitch gonna break down. If your relationship is starting to change and you don't like the direction that it's going and you don't start putting effort into finding out what's changing and try to see if you can fix it so that you're still satisfied with the new outcome, it's just gonna fall apart. Like I said, if he's a doctor, she doesn't need to work. No, that's not true. That's not true because if he's a doctor and she's wasting all the damn money, they still don't got enough money. Because a doctor can be an ER doctor making 60 or 70,000 a year, or a doctor can be a surgeon making $250,000 a year. But $250,000 a year doctor still got a $500,000 student loan debt or more, and then the malpractice insurance. So out of that $250,000, the doctor's probably bringing back like 70 grand after taxes and everything is taken out of his check. And if she's spending 120 grand, she could be spending his money and all of her money, and they could still be living check to check, even though he's a doctor. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because he's a doctor that they got it like that. But yes, you are correct. There is some income missing somewhere. And wherever the income is missing is probably the reason why he's over there making out with another chick. Because why the fuck do they got three jobs between the two of them? Because the average poor man's job is paying you $45,000 a year. And if you've got two jobs that's paying you $23,000 a year, and he's got one job that's paying $50,000 a year, y'all got enough money to live on a $50,000 a year standard of living and put away $40,000 a year. Where neither one of y'all would want to let that go. He would be trying to fix that relationship. That doctor's still living better than a stock boy. Well, actually, no. So here's the thing. The doctor's wife is living better than the stock boy because the doctor spends more time at work than the stock boy because the stock boy is going to be locked on hours because they don't do overtime on a regular basis for stock boy. Doctors actually work on call, and that means that they're on a rotation that's upward of 18 hours at a time, and they work about 4 days out of the week. And then sometimes on top of that, they come in on their days off. And if a medical emergency happens in their presence when they're on their day off, they follow the patient into the hospital and stay with the patient until the patient is stable. So a doctor could easily spend 6.5 days out of the week at work for 15 or 20 years. So it's not that, and if the doctor spends most of his time on the job, even though he's on salary, and sometimes they can give him some kind of bonus or something like that to offset all of his hours. But if the doctor spends most of his time on his job because he loves what he does for a living, he's not at the house. Even if he has a 3-story house with 12 bedrooms in it, he's never home. He's on that fucking cot in the break room with the nurse, which is like one box spring away from the stock boy standard of living. Because they don't have really nice break rooms to sleep in the hospital. They got a regular ass, just like the jail, regular mattress kind of situation with a bed on it. I mean, a box spring thing on it. That's it. It's fools in every category. Damn right. There isn't a scenario where you can reach a certain income and not be played like a fool. There isn't a scenario where you can reach a certain social status and not be tried by your partner. Because people get divorces when they're millionaires. People get divorced when they making $30,000 together. People get divorced when they're both homeless. So there isn't a scenario where a certain standard of money or a certain social status will prevent y'all from falling off. Doctors work in groups today. That doesn't change the fact that if they working in groups, they're gonna find themselves sleeping with their coworker before they sleep with their spouse, because they spend more time at work with their coworker, um, passing the time by venting their personal life to the fact that their coworker knows more about them than their partner does. So some are off as a practice still functions, yes, and some are on, and the ones that go in with, on their days off are the ones that spend more time at work than the ones that stay at home. I sleep in a hospital bed. Exactly. And the ones that sleep in a hospital bed will find themselves sleeping with somebody else in that same hospital bed. That you understand what I'm trying to get at here. Trying to make it seem like it's something different. All right, let's go ahead and touch base on this next one.
People confuse love being a feeling when it's actually a choice. Love is a choice, not a feeling. They left because if you were good to them, they confuse security for boredom. Relationships can't be high always. Whatever comes up must come down. The excitement dies, and that's when real love comes in. That's when you'll know if your partner truly loves you. If they don't, they're going to go chase that high somewhere else because they think love is supposed to feel so pretty at all times. Butterflies, sunshine, and rainbows. But that's not reality. Reality many can't seem to face is that those exciting feelings also come to an end. I guess you can call it the honeymoon phase. But that's when you're tested if you really love your partner. Once the pretty feelings come down.
You're right about that. At the end of the day, if you're in a position where you're doing that 5 year, 10 year, 15 year bid, like a prison sentence, he said, yeah, if I'm especially in the golden cage. If you're doing that 15 year stint, you there by choice. We had this discussion yesterday, and Talenia didn't agree with me. She's like, "Oh, love and emotion, and it's the foundation of the foundation of the relationship is fucking trust. I've got to trust you not to fuck me over the way you got to trust me not to fuck you over. That's the first thing that's got to happen. Then we're gonna have that loyalty and dedication. It ain't about the butterflies in our stomach. It ain't about the heart going pitter pat. It ain't about the fact that I can't get you off my head on a regular basis. It's the fact that I choose to prioritize you on a regular basis, and you choose to prioritize me on a regular basis. And the way I feel when you prioritize me is the reason why I stay. And the way you feel when I prioritize you is the reason why you stay. And the way you make sacrifices with me or for me is going to motivate me to make sacrifices with you or for you. And the way I make those sacrifices with you or for you, you make those sacrifices with me and for me. And because we're doing for each other, we decide to stay together, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how much money we don't have, no matter how much money we do have, no matter how much time we don't have, no matter how much time we do have, we find a way to stay together, even when we get annoyed by each other, even when we get pissed off by each other, even when we get frustrated with each other. We find a reason to stop being mad. We choose to stay there. Love is a choice. Every day you wake up and decide, I am still going to love this person no matter how much of an asshole they were yesterday. Trust does not take time to build. That is a big lie. Trust does not take time to build. You advance trust like a loan shark fronts you money. And that trust is then sustained. Trust does not take time to build. The first time you gave your girlfriend your car to take down the street for whatever the fuck she was trying to do, you didn't trust her to drive that motherfucker. You didn't trust her to bring it back. You hoped that she would bring it back. You hoped that she would bring it back not crash. You would hope that she would bring it back not crash with gas in it. When she does, you can assume that she'll do it again. Every time she takes your car and she brings your car back, not crashed, with gas in it, you can further trust that she's going to keep doing what you expected her to do the first time you gave her the car. But you did not know if she was going to bring your car back the first time you gave her the keys. You didn't know if she was going to bring it with gas. You didn't know if she was going to keep it clean. You didn't know if she was going to take care of it. You don't know. The first time a girl hands you her purse, she don't know if you're going to run off with it. She don't know that trust and no. Again, love is a choice, and trust happens before anything else happens. Because okay, let's dial it all the way back to the first date. So I see a girl, she's cute. I go over there, I talk to her. Doesn't matter how I finagle the situation. She decides that she's going to give me her number so that I can come to her house and pick her up and drive her to the date. I have done nothing besides give her my phone number. There is no reason for her to trust me to bring her back. There is no reason for her to trust me not to do anything negative to her while we're on a date. There is no reason for her to trust me not to commit a crime while I'm with her on the date. There's no reason for her to trust that I'm going to pay for the date. It's a hope. It is a predetermined expectation. And then once I meet those expectations, she can assume that I will do it again. And every time that I do it, she can trust that I'm going to do it again. But she put that trust out there, that false sense of hope that I'm not going to fuck her over. She put that out there. Maintaining the relationship, maintaining the trust, that is going to happen over time. But building trust does not take time. Building, establishing trust happens instantaneously. Trust is given, it is not earned. And that is a false statement that people tell other people is earn trust. In military, you give cadet a fucking rifle with bullets in it before you are sure that he's not going to shoot everybody in the area. Every day that you give him that rifle with bullets in it and he doesn't shoot everybody in the area, you can assume that he's not going to shoot everybody in the area. Gun store owner sells a gun to the guy who bought the gun at the gun store. He gives the guy the gun. He sells the guy the bullets. He can only assume the guy is not going to load the gun up and whack him and take all the rest of the guns out of the store. Trust is given. It is not earned. It is maintained after it is given. You might be able to earn a higher level of trust. I might be able to go from giving you my secondary car to giving you my primary car. Babysitters. I don't know you, but I need somebody to watch my kid. I will pay you because otherwise I would leave my kid in the house by herself. And it is better for me to leave my child with a stranger than it is for me to leave my child in the house to their own devices, knowing what kind of child I've got. Now, when I come back, the house isn't burned down and the child is still alive. I can trust that you can keep the house from burning down and keep my child alive. And every time I need a babysitter, I'm going to call you. But what did you do to show me that you will not kill my kid? Nothing. You give the trust, real trust. You give it, and then they show you that you did the right thing by it. If she broke that trust, do you still trust her? That depends on what she did and how strong you are after that situation. Because if he or she, regardless of the situation, because we've had a situation tonight where a woman broke the man's trust off of something as simple as a kiss, and a man broke a woman's trust off of something as simple as a kiss. And at the end of the day, one woman said, I want to leave my man, and the other man said, I am going to leave my woman. But there are people who have had sex with other people for 9 months and had a baby out of it, and they still kept their marriage together. So I mean, it really depends on what you did and who you did it with, and if you guys are strong enough to bounce back off of that. Because truth is, is that since trust is given, it is not earned and it is maintained over time. All it takes is for you to act outside of expected character to break that trust. Now I do not believe that you will always do what I thought you would do. But the original foundation of the relationship was that I could expect you to do the same thing that I would have done in the same situation that you were in. So if I would behave, I would expect you to behave. That's me advancing trust. When you behave, then I can assume that you will always behave. But I gave you the benefit of the doubt, which is advancing trust, and you just maintain that. So if my partner knows that I can be in a room full of naked women and I'm not going to look at none of them, I'm not going to interact with none of them, or if I look at them, I'm not going to touch them or interact with none of them, I'm going to do whatever I'm in the room for and then go back out and not have any interactions with any of the naked women in the room, if she knows that, because if she was in a room full of naked dudes, that's how she would respond, then every time I go into a room full of naked women, which for some reason, why would I be doing that? But if I did, and I came out and I did not do anything, she can trust that, hey, he's not going to do anything. So no one woman can come and tell her, oh, he was doing this, that, and the other. No, I know my man. Not only is y'all not his style, but at the end of the day, I know him because when he does go, he come out and he don't touch nothing. He don't do nothing. He don't act nowhere. You know what I mean? The trust is there because I have performed a repetitive quantity of reassured behavior. And as a result, you believe that I'm not going to do this thing. So take a man that could be an axe murderer, Norman Bates, calmest demeanor, never get angry, never yell, never lash out. Police come over and say, hey, your husband's suspected for murder. Not in his character. I've been with him for 15 years, never seen him so much as raise an eyebrow out of anger. It is not in his character. She believes to her core that he could not do that. Yet, every weekend that he goes off on a business trip, he's axe murdering somebody. Why? Because she afforded the trust. He reinforced the trust with repetitive behavior, which is ongoing practice. It's not something that's earned, it's given and then maintained. Y'all got to think about this now. Because not a one damn time that you gave your homeboy or your homegirl your debit card with the PIN number and they went to go buy something because you didn't feel like going in there paying for it for them and they did not overspend the card. Come on now. He said, all foundations are based on trust in a relationship. Most foundations are based on trust in a relationship. There are other foundations that are in there because you have those trauma bond relationships that are developed based on codependency. But the most sturdy relationships are going to have communication in addition to trust. But trust is one of the pillars of a relationship. Then when I went to a Chippendale dances with a girlfriend, I was the only guy in the audience. Bro, if I would have went to a Chippendale situation, I would not have been okay with that because I would have been at the bar like this is some bullshit. um but then what am I taking my girl to a Chippendale dancer situation when I could just dress up like a Chippendale dancer and do the same damn dance? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you should be like shut-ins and never enjoy life anywhere, but there's a lot of times that modern relationships are doing the most, spending money for the same entertainment that y'all can give each other at the house. Because once Netflix went to $25 a month and you got millions of movies, you got a decent ass TV. You can pop popcorn at the house. You can get you some sodas and spend $15 in the house watching 35 or 40 movies instead of spending $250 at the movie theater for one movie. They got karaoke machines. You can get a karaoke machine and you can invite some of your couple friends over, have like 80 y'all at the house, and y'all can be balls against the wall doing karaoke shows all night long, and y'all can do that for 10 years or until the karaoke machine breaks for the price of the one karaoke machine, which might only cost you $50 to $75 for the whole year. Um, there's so many things y'all can do. Y'all can do game nights with family and friends where y'all can actually get to know one another and communicate with each other instead of just getting drunk all the damn time. Then you won't have that stink breath like the one woman's husband was dealing with. Y'all could do so much stuff that is not just shaking your ass in a nightclub, grinding up against the wrong man, and then your husband got to go beat up a dude because he was standing behind you when you bent over. You shouldn't be bending over in public. You're in a relationship. You should not make your knees touch your elbows once you are in a relationship. That is the type of behavior that you had when you was 18, and that's not the type of behavior you should have in a relationship. I don't care where she took you. She taking me somewhere to get something to eat. If I'm going with her to Chippendales, then damn it, we're gonna have to go to Coyote Ugly and get some raw dog going on because this is some ridiculousness. Y'all be just going places with these females and then just think, oh, that's fine because it's her. Now fuck that shit. You have the ability to stand up as a man and say, I don't want my girl watching another dude shake his dick in her face while I stand there and cockhold the situation. I don't understand what y'all be thinking. Because I'm not that dude. I'm not that dude. If I am not good enough to dance naked in front of her, what makes you think that I am going to allow her to take our hard earned money and put it into his G string with my photographic memory? Hell no. I think we need to get you out of the house. No, I think you need to be more responsible. I don't drink nor smoke anymore at 72. Okay, your niece took you to Coyote Owens. Okay, okay, that's good. That's good. See, at least it's like your daughter's or your sister's daughter. Somebody gotta look take you somewhere where dudes are supposed to be. Because I'm not saying that women aren't entitled to do certain things. I'm just saying, damn, why the hell is it are all the masculine men being drug into all of this stuff that masculine men do not belong in? Talking about some securing my masculinity by allowing her to do stuff that you're not supposed to be doing in a relationship anyway. Because you said wife, you didn't say your female friend. You know what I mean? That's your wife. Your wife is girlfriend, wife, whatever. She ain't supposed to be going to no damn. Because that's like saying, okay, ladies, and y'all gonna agree with me on this point. Your boyfriend is not supposed to ride with you to the goddamn strip club. So I mean, why are we going to damn Chippendales and why? Let me get off that real quick. He said, even bought me a drink where she was on the bar over me. Look, okay, at 71 years old, you was from Woodstock era, so y'all was doing all kind of inappropriate stuff. You like 72 now. And all of the inappropriate stuff y'all used to do back in the day. Y'all didn't chewed on a bag full of mushrooms, popped a couple dozen LSDs, and y'all are watching Scooby Doo make the walls melt with Smurfs talking backwards upside down on a tree slope. I mean, I understand, but nowadays it shouldn't fly like that. I don't know why it do, but it should. Let's go ahead and touch base with the next one here.
I, being 24, just got into a relationship with a girl who is also 24 and needs some general advice. Little bit of context. I and this girl have been talking and going out on dates for about 2 or so months. We see each other every weekend. We seem to hit it off pretty good. She would always say she was having or had fun. And we have the same long-term goal ECT. She lives about an hour away, but I drive a lot already. So that's not an issue, and we do stuff closer to her house, since I kinda live in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, yesterday she messaged me and said she was ready to make our relationship serious. She always seems indecisive on what she wants to do, so that was a nice surprise. I told her that was awesome to hear, and that I was as well. But I am kinda new to relationships, so my question would be, what would be a good next step? I was thinking about meeting her parents. She still lives with them, which is fine. but I am not sure if I should wait before trying to meet them. We do plan on doing something this weekend, but we have not decided what we are doing yet.
Okay, so hold on, real quick. In modern times, we barely get to meet the family right before the wedding. And that's a bad move. He said nowadays they're out there on the streets fading. Yeah, you ain't lying on that. They faded all day long. But look, modern days, we don't meet the family until the wedding. When you decide to start dating, you are supposed to be dating to marry, which means that you are both in the training phase. Now, husband material is behaving like a husband from the first date. Boyfriend material is husband material because the way I would take care of you if I married you is the way I'm taking care of you when I date you. That's how men behave. We don't have different gears. We have on or off. We have start or stop. We have go or don't go. Ladies, y'all got tiers. Conditionally, under certain circumstances, if those circumstances are met, you might do just a little bit more. You might put a little bit more effort. You might step up to a little bit of a different plate sometimes. Now, because of this, the problem is that a man never knows what he's getting married to because he doesn't know what you're willing to do because you're not willing to show him your best self on the first date. You're being impressed on the first date. You are not showing him what you're willing to do for him because he's responsible for catering to you. Um, you do not show him what you're willing to do for him as a wife because you're not married, you're not engaged. Then, when you get married, you don't have to do these things because you're already married. So while you might have had it in your mind that there were certain things that you would do for your husband, then once you get married, you're like, fuck that, I ain't doing none of that shit. It's like, oh yeah, if I get that raise, I'm gonna do so much of my job. But then when you show up for work and you look at that bullshit, you like, hell no, I'm just gonna get this money and leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? He said, don't meet the family right away. Okay, you're wrong. And I'm at least ask if you want to meet my family. Okay, hold on. He said he doesn't know what the first move should be. So let's get into this part right here. If you're dating to marry, you're supposed to be learning what your partner's needs are so that you can decide if you're going to meet them. Okay. And then your partner is supposed to be actively knowing what your needs are so that they can actively meet them. Now, as a person who does not know the family, you want to know why he or she behaves the way they behave. And you're going to find that out by hanging out with their family. So, when the relationship is serious, I don't give a damn if it's 3 weeks in, 2 years in. When you decide that this is supposed to be for the permanent fixture, go meet the family. It could be fucking 4 days in. If you decide that we're gonna try to make this legit forever kind of scenario, like the foreseeable future is what we're committing to right now. Go meet the family. And why do I say go meet the family? Because there are certain behavior patterns that might be acceptable in her family that might be awkward and uncomfortable for you, turn into pet peeves. If you know why she does the things that she does, you might be a little bit more understanding towards her. You might be able to navigate a lot of that stuff. In Eastern culture, family oriented culture, you meet the family right away. And if they approve of you, then y'all can date, not before. In Western culture, you date first. Technically, you sleep together first, then you start dating, and then you decide, well, I might introduce this person to my family. Y'all done did everything except get married, and now you're going to introduce them to your parents, probably because you want your father to give you away uh on the wedding day. Sometimes you do this because you want somebody to pay for the wedding, and you want to make sure that they're okay with the wedding so that they can pay for the wedding kind of situation. So you ask for the blessing for the person who's going to put up money towards the wedding, but you don't talk to the person about who you're dating and who you're planning on marrying before you get to the marriage part. So y'all need to put more effort into getting the family involved if you have a healthy family. And why do I say that? Because if the person has your best intentions in mind, when they don't know what the fuck you're thinking, the first thing they're going to do is ask your brother or ask your father, "Hey, I love your daughter or I love your sister. How do I handle this situation? Because I don't want to lose her, but I don't know what to do with her in this situation." And her family member is going to be the first one to say she crazy as fuck, but you're going to be happy with her. Just do this, this, and this. Get you out of the scenario. Special shout out to Claudia. She's back again. How you doing? You should be watching more of these episodes because we have talked about money on 8 different occasions, investment opportunities, and how to fix yourself. So you'll be learning all kind of stuff if you swung through here. I told you I was gonna be here by the end of the thing. Uh, are you talking to the? No, there isn't a middle school boy here because Michael is 71 and Claudia looks like she's about 28. So I don't know what you're referring to, Fuzzy. So we're gonna go ahead and let you take a time out there, buddy. Good to see you again. 36. See, it is a man's job to guess and subtract 10. I'm just gonna be serious how we do it. Um, because either we're right or it's a compliment. Um, you take a look and you subtract 10, and then you swing for the fences, and it's either a home run or you hit the nail on the head. True. Now, here's a funny thing because uh, when a man asks a woman how old she is, women usually take that as an insult. And that's usually because, from the woman's perspective, she assumes that the man thinks that she's old as dirt and he's just trying to figure out what's going on. But really, she looks too young to be old enough to talk to him. But he doesn't want to assume that she's not old enough. So he'll ask her what her age is because she doesn't look like she is as old as she could be. And he'll ask that question. Now, what women do is women shoot themselves in the foot because since women are insecure about their age because they understand that after the age of about 27 or 28, they stop becoming valuable in the dating game. And the closer they get to 40, the less valuable they are, no matter how awesome they can be as a person. When men are looking to have children, when they're trying to build a legacy, if they can't build a legacy because you passed menopause, you're not qualifiable for that man's agenda. But any man who could give two shits about kids, you could be 41 years old and find a great man and just started that relationship at 41 where you get married at 45. Now, the fact is that after a certain age, when women believe that they're past their prime, when a man asks you how old you are, those women are going to say that it is rude to ask a woman about her age. That just means that you're 48. Because truth is, if you're proud of how old you are, you're proud of the accomplishments that you've accomplished, and you are satisfied with where you are in life, you should be able to say 36 and proud of it. You feel me? Because when you ask a man how old they are, they're not going to say, "Oh, it's not ladylike to ask a man how old he is." No, fuck that shit. I done been through hell and back. I'm old enough. I'm old enough. Damn it. And if you looked at me and you thought that I was 16 and I'm old enough to be your daddy, I go to places and I actually enjoy when they card me when I'm trying to buy alcohol because I'm looking at them like shit. I got cars older than you, and those cars were made when I was born. Hold on, bro. Speaking of, I got pulled over one day, quite a few years ago. It was funny because I was driving a car. It was a Crown Vic, It was at 5.0302 small block, and it was created 2 months before my birthday in California. So I got pulled over. I didn't get pulled over because I did nothing stupid. I had no exhaust on the bottom of the car. I had no pipes on the bottom of the car. It was loud as fuck. It was like a hot rod kind of thing. They pulled me over because they heard it before they saw it. And then when they saw it, they couldn't believe it because it looked like something out of the Dukes of Hazzard. It looked like from way back when, like Matlock kind of stuff. Like you only seen them cars on the black and white TV shows kind of thing, right? And they're like, oh man, I just had to stop and ask you, how did you get it to keep running? And I'm like, I work on it myself. Then when I told him what kind of car it was and what year it was, and he was like, damn, that car is older than me. Yeah, that car is old as fuck. And as soon as the cop said that, I said, me and the car share the same birthday. Oh, no disrespect, sir. Yeah, no, that just goes to show you, you know, that car is an antique and so am I. Proud of it. You know what I mean? That's because we didn't been through it. We done been through the school of hard knocks 3 times, got us a PhD. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's good to see you, Claudia. It's good to see you. We were discussing young Buck talking about his girlfriend and going to the next level. The next level could mean a lot of things. The next level could be the first time y'all sleep together. The next level could be moving in together. But the next level should be meeting the family. And the reason why is because if her family is crazy, you know that you got you a crazy family. It doesn't mean that you need to run. If you got to add up, let me tell you something. Matter of fact, look, check it out like this. I would have absolutely no problem with wifing up Wednesday from the Adams family. I would go to that house and I would high five the hand. You know what I mean? I would be like comfortable in this environment. I don't give a shit if everybody sleep in a coffin. Why? Because this weird little girl is gonna dedicate all of her effort into making sure that nothing happens to me. Because as you see through the whole series, is that the people that she values, she will put her life on the line for them. So you say, how long has the relationship been? Um, I don't remember what he said how long the relationship was. It's been a few months, probably 6 months or so. And the girl asked if the boy could, if the boy was willing to make the relationship more serious at the time. And she's usually undecisive. And this is his first relationship, and he's excited about it, and he wanted to take it to the next level. But since he's never been in a relationship before, he doesn't know what the next level should be, and he thought meeting the parents might be a good idea. And my aspect of it is that you should meet the family before anything. Michael doesn't agree with that. Michael believes that you should delay meeting the family. But I personally believe that if you are going to date to marry, which is should be your mentality, because you're not trying to have a consistent sex partner when you're in a relationship, you're supposed to be dating to marry. You should meet the family as soon as possible so that you can formulate bonds with the brothers and sisters, so that you can formulate a bond with dad. You know, you can get to know how mom behaves, because how mom behaves is how the daughter behaves. But again, what you're going to also notice is how she reacts with her father is how she's going to react with you. So you will realize what kind of woman you're marrying, because the mother is time travel. Because 99% of the time, the way and how here. So you should have the family involved. So you should start the family off by going to meet her family. And if that works out, then you bring her to go meet your family. And then y'all start making sure that y'all's families are involved with one another. So by the time y'all make it to that proposal, that everybody's comfortable with everybody, and you're able to old fashioned ways get the blessing from the father and get the blessing from the boy's mother, so that the whole family is in agreement that this is something that should be happening. She said when you get married, you also marry the family. That's true. When you get married, you also marry the family. So why are you meeting the family on the wedding day? You should know the damn family before the wedding day. Because if there's something about this family that's not right with you, that relationship ain't gonna work out no way because the girl is not gonna choose between you and her family because her family that she grew up with her whole life should more than likely, more often than not, come first. So if you want this relationship to last, you want to be on good terms with the family. Now, understandably, the boy's mother is never the one that's going to cooperate with this situation. I don't understand why it is harder for the boy's mother to get used to the girl than it is for the girl's father to get used to the boy because all the girl's father's got to see is that the boy is willing to go to bat for the daughter the way the father's willing to go to bat and he will pass the torch. But let the girl replace mom and mom is offended. Like, wait, I thought you could retire, sweetheart. Are you on a laptop? Yes, I am on a laptop. It is the most effective way to get this done. Because if I was on a cell phone, this would not work. Ironically, and I know that you're looking at some of the lag here. We have three towers down in the area within 100-foot radius, and right now we're dealing with. Look, I'm looking at the lag. I am streaming on four, five because I have YouTube long form, which you're probably watching me on. Yeah, you're watching me on YouTube long form. Then I have YouTube 16 by 9 up here. Then I also have Twitter and I also have Twitch on here. So I've got like 4 or 5 different uh live streams happening at the exact same time, all connected to the same comment section. I can see everybody's comments, but y'all only see the comments that I put up on the screen that are appropriate. And eventually, after TikTok gets signed by the United States, I'll have TikTok up here as well. So there'll be even more comments up here. So sometimes I experience some lag. It's not supposed to be that way, but sometimes I experience some lag. But I'm experiencing a lot of lag because they're servicing the towers in the area. And when they turn off the towers, I go from 5G to fucking 3G during a live stream, and I kind of can't do anything about it. But I also have a 1080p webcam on top of my laptop instead of doing the integrated camera so that I have the better color, the 4K high definition color. But I'm not going to get high definition frame changes because the uh, high speed internet that I'm burning 2 gigabytes of data every month or more, and I don't have enough network. So every now and again, I experience some lag. And I know that it's a little bit fuzzy because I went from the 1080p high definition to 720p so that I can offset some of the lag from the lack of network. But they just reset the tower what 7 hours ago, and they're like, oh, give it 24 to 36 hours and you should see an improvement. And I'm like, y'all told me that 3 weeks ago. But they took $150 off my phone bill every month. So I don't really complain that much. Every time the network look, every time the podcast doesn't look as good as I would like for it to look, I get $150 off my phone bill. So I'm like, I froze. I saw it. Don't think I didn't see it. I see myself on 3 different windows right now. When you saw me froze, I saw me froze too, and I was like, yep, it's coming off the bill. It's coming off the bill. I do want to get me a better laptop, but what it will require is a $4,000 laptop. But all that's going to do is give me a 1 terabyte laptop that's not necessarily going to improve the service. It's just going to increase the frame rate just a tad bit as long as I have 5G network. So I can go up to 1080p, but it's going to be until the network drops. So in the state that I'm in right now, the city that I have next to me, it does not have good towers. So we just got the Inseego FX 4100. Then I got the what is it X700 MX700 Wi-Fi mesh device to add to it. We got another FX 4100 on the other side of the property. So we got two high speed routers and a wireless router extender, um, and 4 cell phones providing bandwidth to this podcast, and and it's still not enough. So the next thing we got to do is upgrade to a bigger computer that's got a bigger hard drive on it that's going to be processing more stuff, and that. And then T-Mobile's supposed to do fiber optics, and then we switched to the fiber optics, and then we got 2 gigs of uh, high-speed underground internet instead of Wi-Fi towers, which will increase our performance, but it's going to double the phone bill because the fiber optics is like $110 a month, whereas the Wi-Fi is like $35 a month plus the discount, the rebates. So I would be going from 300 something dollars a month to like 450 so that I can go to fiber optics. But right now I'm only paying $150 for like 8 phones and 3 routers and a hotspot device and this laptop. So I think I got a pretty good deal because I've got more devices functioning for $150 than like 3 families combined. But I'm also a business, so it's under a commercial account. So it's not like a personal phone account. It is not a family plan. It is a commercial business line, which is crazy. So note to self, if you want to get a better family plan, register your phone as an LLC with T-Mobile. You'll get way better rates and higher prioritization. So I told y'all here on this and that, we talk about this, that, and everything in between, and I be giving y'all so much information that y'all never thought about. So if you got AT&T or Verizon, switch over to T-Mobile and get you a commercial account, and then add everybody on because they do $160 for the first 2 lines, and then it is $35 for every other line after that, and then every other line is free. You end up with like 5 lines for $160 when they finish throwing all the rebates down. And then if you hold on to them, you come to find it, most of that shit disappears. And then uh Netflix, they give you a Netflix discount. They take like $8 off your Netflix discount. So unless you have an equipment plan where you're leasing a bunch of shit, you're likely to be paying about 150 $200 a month on regular stuff. But when you start adding extra routers and stuff like that on here, it starts getting up to like 350. Yeah. So financial advice. I'll be giving y'all advice all over the place. I think we got one more. Let's go ahead and listen to this one.
I don't
told
know
y'all
what
we're
to
gonna be
do
here
with
2
my
hours.
life. I'm currently 18 and in university for life sciences. My plan is to graduate after 4 years, then go to med school. But that isn't what I want at all. I'm not motivated and I don't even know what it is I really want. I have many interests, but most likely they won't make a living for me. I feel sad at times and don't know what to do. I don't know why I came here to post this. Maybe trying to find some help. Thanks.
Um, most people do what they were told to do. Your parents decide when you are young, 6, 8, 12, this is what you're going to be when you grow up. That's not a decision that you make. Your parents make that. When children decide on their own what they want to be when they grow up, it is going to be fundamentally based on childhood trauma. And let me explain why. I'm going to be a doctor because one of my family members died from a disease. I'm going to be a doctor so that I can make one of my family members feel better. I'm going to be a lawyer because one of my family members got mistreated by the justice system. I'm going to be a cop because one of my family members got killed by a crime in the neighborhood. Yeah, I'm going to be a firefighter because somebody I know, the house burned down and nobody was there to put out the fire. I'm going to be a soldier because my country got overran by insurgents and I want to protect my country. I'm going to be a cop because my dad was a cop, because my dad's dad was a cop. I'm going to be a soldier because my mom was a cop, or my mom was a soldier. My mom's mom was a soldier. I'm gonna do because of something that is beyond my control. Now, when that does not happen, your parents just decide, oh, you're good with your hands. You'll be a good doctor. Oh, you're run fast. You're going to be an athlete. Oh, you can catch something with the grit. You're going to be a basketball player. You threw that really hard. You're going to play baseball. They just decide for you. Oh, you're really good with computers. You're going to be an engineer. You're going to be a computer tech. They just decide for you. Then, throughout your childhood, they keep telling you this is what you're going to do when you grow up. They're going to start putting you in places and teaching you different stuff. Whatever you want to do in life, fuck that. That's not going to make you money. That's not important. Do this because I said so. And they're going to teach you to keep doing that all the way through high school. What do you want to be when you go to college? The teachers ask you that. You have no clue. Your parents said, and that's what you're going to do. So you get out of high school, you get your scholarship, you go straight into college. The very next semester, you barely get the summer off. Now you're in college. You're doing what you were told to do. This isn't what you want to do, but you're doing it because you want to make your family proud. Now, halfway through, sometimes sooner than that, you realize that you're not here because this is what you want to do. You're here because this is what you were told to do. You come across two or three people who honestly have a passion for what they're chasing because they truly want to do that. They truly want to be there. You're just there because you have to. Once you realize that, resentment kick in, sadness and depression kicks in. You're frustrated. You wasted your entire childhood on somebody else's dream. You're wasting half of your adulthood on somebody else's dream. You can't quit because if you quit, they're gonna devalue you at the house. You can't be the if you're the one of many who's going to college and other people graduated and you don't, they're gonna look down on you. There's so much pressure there, and you don't know what to do. I've covered a show about this. You get into college, you're going to make money for you. You're going to invest. You're going to change the dynamic and use you going to college to network yourself into something that you really want to do. The college campus is the best place to meet your next employer. It's the best place to find a really good business deal, but you have to go there looking for it. It's not going to find you. You're one of a few 100,000 people registered to that school. You can. I gave you information on last week. Matter of fact, I gave you guys information on how you can call the alumni and network your way through the alumni on how to get to something that you actually want to do. You can change your major once you get to college, and depending on what your major originally was, the core curriculum for two different degrees might be the same if it's in a college of arts and science, especially since you're 18 and you're like freshman year. You can change your major. It's when you're 5.5 years in and changing your major requires you to start over. That's when you don't want to start having regrets. But like first semester, second semester, yeah, you could change your major because the first year of college is going to be any prerequisites that you missed on the entrance exam, even though you did the SAT test and you graduated from high school. They're going to do a placement test in college. And then you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to start from below your expectations and work your way up. So while you're taking remedial classes, by all means, change your major because it doesn't really matter. All the classes are still the same. She says, as a parent, I think you do encourage your kids to do what it is they're good at. But see, I all parents call themselves trying to do that, but the problem is that the kids don't know what they're good at. The parents tell the kids what the kids are good at. So while it's not intentional, you're good at what you do because you apply yourself to everything that you are interested in. But your parents tell you that you're above average at what you do, which leads you to believe that that's what you're good at. That's what you're really good at. You keep doing what you're told because you trust your parents' judgment. Eventually, even though you're really good with your hands, it doesn't mean that you want to get a job with your hands. I'm not saying that parents are bad for what they're doing. I'm just saying that fundamentally, at 18 years old, there's a large quantity of people that realize that I am here because I was told to come. I'm not here because this is what I wanted to do. I'm here because I was told to come, and I came, and I did it. And that's a huge difference. It's life altering. I was really good with my hands. I could do model cars. I could thread the needle with a GI Joe and rebuild my toys from the ground up. And because I was reattaching limbs and reattaching torsos and putting heads back together, because we played with our toys rough. I was like the Toy Story of kids. We were putting our toys back together. And mom's like, "Oh, you're going to be a surgeon." So 8 years of college, microbiology, communication and health, computer technology, but I didn't end up being a surgeon. I'm a teacher now, but I didn't end up being a surgeon. But I spent 8 years in college with the mentality that I was going to be a surgeon because that's what I was told to do. Because I'm good with my hands. I'm still good with my hands, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be a surgeon. It gives them a place to start. And the parents that are more flexible about what the children decide to do, if the children get information to make a change and do something different, where they decide I might be good with my hands because I got long fingernails, but I can use that to play the cello. Sure, whatever you want to do. If the parents are supportive, that's fine. But the children who don't decide on what they want to do, not because their parents discourage them from deciding, but because they had no clue. And since you have an idea, I might as well run with that because it's better for me to do something than to do nothing. The kids will follow the leader, and then they will realize at some point, this isn't what I want to do. But once you realize that and you're already in college, you still have a solution. You still have a solution. You can change your major. You can start focusing on what you want. Break the news to your parents at some point, but you start focusing on your own personal ambitions. Why didn't I want to be a surgeon? Actually, I at one point I wanted to be a fireman, and then at one point I wanted to be a convict. And then when I saw how bad the convicts got treated, I was like, nah, fuck that. That's too much work. Then, then I just didn't want to be broke. And then I was like, well, shit, the surgeons make decent money, so that might be a good idea. Um, but it wasn't my idea. I was really good when I was a kid. I was really good with numbers. I was really good with calculations. I was the human calculator in my family, and my brother was a human dictionary. So, he could have been a historian based on how he was good with keeping knowledge, and I could have been a civil engineer. I could have been an astronaut with the way I was good with numbers. I could be a surgeon. I'm still good with numbers. I'm actually teaching people 3 to 5 days out of the week on how to make, save, and invest money because I'm so good with numbers. Uh, I could have been on the stock market. I didn't have to be a surgeon. I was good with numbers, but I was good with my hands. She didn't see how much I could count because she didn't watch me do my homework. She saw the A's on my report card and she saw me rebuilding my toys, which is what a doctor would have done when they're rebuilding the patients. And she said, doctor, surgeon, straight up. But if she would have saw how I calculated that doctor bill after I put that GI Joe together, she would have said accountant or a lawyer. It's just she caught me when I wasn't looking and I was rebuilding some toys because I didn't want to spend more of my allowance money on buying new toys. I was resourceful. So, it's a difference. So a lot of kids have that same experience. They like a kid that runs fast, they might run fast because they saw a better posture to run in comparison to the other kids, and parents automatically assume you're going to be an athlete. No, I'm not going to be an athlete. I just didn't want to be the last person in this race. Uh, you know what I mean? You got kids that, oh, you're going to be on a track team because they're jumping over fences and hurling over picnic benches because they don't want to be late for class. I was one of the fastest kids in my high school because I'm black. We get chased all the time. We used to jump over cars to get away. So I was really fast. They wanted me on the track team. I got asthma. I can run a quarter mile because I had no choice. But do I want to run a quarter mile for fun? Hell no. I used to run across campus because I walked my girlfriend to her class, and my class was on the other side of school, and I would run to the other side of school so I wouldn't be late for my class after she got to her class. And then when I got out of class, I would go get her from her class, walk her to her next class, and then run back to my class. So I used to run all the time. But if I wasn't doing it for her, would I be running for? No. But if my dad would have saw me running, he'd be, oh yeah, you're gonna be a track star. No, I'm not. I'm only doing that because she's cute and we're going to prom together. But when that stopped, I don't walk to my mailbox. Let me tell you how I changed from running across campus for a girl to walking to my car to get in my car and drive to my mailbox and get my mail and drive back to my door and then get back into my house. I'm gonna tell you, I probably put more effort in turning on my car and driving to the box than what it would have been for me to just walk to it. No. If it's past the rear tire of my car, it's too far. I'm gonna get in my car and drive there. Neighbors like, damn, he just pulled up to get the mail and back into the house. Like, yes, that's too far. How do I get my trash to the end of the road? That's what other people are in my house for. You take the trash out. That's too far. Uh, take the dog for a walk. Who? Swing the door open. Let him take himself for a walk. For 12 years, I had a Chihuahua that would walk around the block by herself and come back into the house whenever she was done, take herself on a 30-minute walk. I'd have people calling me, you know, your dog's out here. Yes, and if you don't touch her, she can poop. Like, so the way things change over time, your decisions as a child is heavily influenced by the adults in your life. But your decisions as an adult is based on your personal motivations. And the older we get, the more our motivations change. Now, sometimes we get lazier, sometimes we get more ambitious. Sometimes we get more ambitious about being lazy. Think about that. One of the reasons why most of us try really hard to make money so that we're not poor is so that we can quit working and our life is paid for. Why do you want that? So that you don't have to do shit. So the goal is to make so much money that you don't need money, so that you don't got to work no more, so that you can be what? Lazy as fuck. So our goal as middle-aged adults is to be lazy as fuck in 25 years doing nothing because we don't have to. Now, 5 years into that, we're going to be bored as fuck trying to get a job at Walmart as a door greeter just so that we can say that we got something to do. But at the end of the day, our ambition as life is to go from having to answer to somebody else's call to not having a call to answer and still having a stable standard of living. That's our goal. So for the person who just starting out in life, don't worry about it. There's always another way. And 52% of graduates don't get the degree that lines up with the job that they have after college anyway. We covered that on the show. So find something to do, find something that you love, try to get a degree out of it, or at least network while you're in college so that you can find some connections when you get out of college. So even if you get a general education degree, if you know somebody who knows somebody to put you in a place that you want to be in, you can still have something that you're satisfied with. Now, one of the things that I'm going to be clear about, we still do not have a matching dynamic where the thing that you love to do will pay you well enough for the standard of living that you want. So you have to find a middle ground between what pays, what doesn't pay, what you love as a hobby, what you're satisfied with as a career, and how much money you're willing to make for the work that you're willing to do that is going to pay for your standard of living. Now, as long as you can get all those things to mesh up together, whatever you're not willing to do is off the table. But whatever you're willing to do for the amount they're willing to offer, that is going to be your job. And if it turns out that it's not quite 100% what you love to do becomes a hobby that you do with all your free time. And that's how you find balance in life. You cannot make what you love your career choice, but it is an ambition in life that you can have what you love as a career choice. So you try it. But like we tell athletes, have a backup plan. So if you want to be an actor for a career, go ahead, be an actor. You want to be an athlete? Go ahead, be an athlete. But what you want to do is you want to have a backup plan. Get you a business degree, learn how to count money, learn how to invest in some shit, learn how to put money in places where money is making money for you. Start up a business. That way, after you've chased your dream, whatever that dream may be, you could have succeeded or you could have failed. Doesn't matter. Because a child making it to a baseball player retires from that baseball league, and 2 years later, they don't have shit. You have to have a backup plan. Once you have a backup plan, after you finish chasing that dream, now it is time to live in the reality after the dream. And the reality is, you still got to do something to make money. Carter said, I love that a backup plan is so necessary. Everything in life is requiring a backup plan. Everything in life. They say those who can't do teach. And I've been saying that since I was in college. People used to get pissed off about that. But guess what? I'm not a surgeon, but I'm teaching folks that's going to college to be a surgeon. Do I give a shit? Because I get to sit in this chair and get paid to teach people how to read, write, and count in 48 different countries around the world. I actually can impact the next generation of H-1B applicants because I'm teaching them how to be competitive on an international level. Do I care that I'm not a surgeon? Fuck no. Because what I wanted to do is not have to get up out this chair and get in my car and drive to a place where I got to work next to somebody that I don't like to get paid the same amount of money or less than the asshole that's sitting next to me doing less work because they're the boss's associate. I accomplished half of what I wanted to do in life because I at least get paid doing something that I'm okay with. I love teaching people. I love helping people. I love influencing people. And that is something that I am turning into a career in a different way. Teaching is part of it. This podcast is the other part. Surgeon, yeah, I wanted to change people's lives. But guess what? As a surgeon, I only keep you from dying. The nurse takes good care of you. The nurse spends more time with you than the damn surgeon. The surgeon has no impact on your life after your life is stable. So I have more impact on your life teaching you along the way than a surgeon. So if my ulterior motive when I was going through this thinking, I want to make people's lives better, I'm going to be a doctor. Wrong goal, right idea. I'm going to make people's lives better by influencing them through knowledge and research. I still had to go to college because I would never have learned how to do the necessary research that I needed to do in order to be the positive influence that I wanted to be. So I still had to go to college. But once I went and once I learned what I needed to learn, I just had to do it differently. So the backup plan is find something that pays the bills that you're willing to tolerate, especially if it pays enough. And then your dream can become, in some situations, a hobby. Not all dreams, because you can't be a lawyer on the side, but I mean, you could be a notary, you could be a subcontracted paralegal, you can be a subcontracted accountant. There's a lot of stuff that you could pass the bar. You could be a real estate agent, you could be a broker. There's so many things that you can do as a hobby that actually can pay you as a hobby while you're doing something that's paying the bills. And the difference is over time, if you nurture that hobby, it can turn into a career. You can do stand up on the weekends and end up being a professional after a while. You can do karaoke, then go to live karaoke shows, then audition at some of those American Got Talent things, and then hit it big one day, American Idol. But you work every day. Take care of your responsibilities every day. And then on the side, you try to make it. You don't do that starving artist bullshit where you just live off of your music until you starve to death. No, you work every day. You write your music, play your stuff on your time off, and hope that somebody see you. With the way things are these days, with people doing TikTok dances in a Dunkin' Donuts, bro, you can do your hobby on social media on the sidelines while you're working and still get found. Worst case scenario, you work for yourself because you're doing what you love to do on social media instead of doing what you love to do by a major agent. Protect your assets because YouTube gonna take half your money. Literally, that's the contract we have as content creators. YouTube gets 50% of what we make. So whenever you give me 10, I only get 5. But it's the cost of doing business. It's the cost of doing business. But at the end of the day, don't get discouraged that you realized at 18 that this isn't what you want to do with your life. It hurts more in 30 years when you have that same thought. At least now you can change early so that by the time you're 20, you have your 20-year plan set up. And with your 20-year plan set up, you have the capabilities by 40 to retire. And any scenario where you're living a mediocre lifestyle that allows you to put away $40,000 a year or more into a 15% interest or more option over the course of 10 to 15 years, you're going to make more money off of that than what you would make off of any job that is not paying 100 grand a year. And I guarantee you, if you ride that wave until you hit that 20-year mark, you're going to have a $1.5 million in a high interest account somewhere. And that $1.5 million is going to be paying you over $250,000 a year. And after taxes, you'll still have well over 200,000 a year to do whatever you want to do. So if you're still working on that mediocre $50,000 a year standard of living with 150 extra $1,000 a year set aside because you stuck to your 20-year plan, I can guarantee you that you'll be able to travel the world, maintain your standard of living wherever you are, quit your current job, and still be able to take 30% of the money that you're not spending and put it back into your investment to increase the quantity of money you're getting. Nobody is taught this. I teach y'all this. Nobody thinks about this. I remind y'all about this. That at 36, Claudia's 20-year plan, if she does it right, could put her at $1 million by 56. In 10 years, if she stuck to it, she could quit her job and live off $250,000 a year, making like 60 or 70,000 a year payout, which will cover the average person's standard of living. Because comfortable standard of living is like $70,000. So, and then remember this part, because average life expectancy is now what, 84, 85 years old? Look, Donald Trump almost 90. What was the other guy's name? Biden. He's 90 something. Okay. So from 36 to 56, if you set it up right, you would still have 35 more years of living. And if you can quit your job at 56 and have 30 years of I don't got to do shit and I don't got to depend on a man to do that, girl, you will be hitting. This is what we try to tell y'all. We try to teach y'all. And this is something that you can do on your own, but this is something that you can do a whole lot easier if you're in a committed relationship with somebody that's going to go half on you. Because not only are you building towards a retirement, you're building on a type of retirement where you can spend the next 35 years loving the life you live with the person that you love, which is a whole lot different than enjoying the life by your damn self and your little dog too. We just got to change the way we think about things. So in the long run, you have to think about the things that you don't like about your life, and then you have to make those changes. Then after that, you are going to navigate around the things that you cannot change. That is what we're expecting from you for your 2026. Find out what you don't like about your life from last year. Because truth be told, whatever didn't work in 24, you should have cut that shit out in 25. And whatever didn't work in 25, you should cut that shit out in 26. You were supposed to be in 26 trying to make your later greater because yesterday is gone and today is set in stone from last year's work. So you were supposed to be working on making next year easier than this year, and so forth and so forth. Okay, hold on. He says, I'm an unemployed drug addict with no future. What should I do? Well, interestingly enough, you have a future because you're still alive. And if you're unemployed, you can get a job. If you are an addict and you want to get clean, you can choose to go to rehab. You can have a friend to help you support going cold turkey and trying to get off of it and getting yourself clean. You can change the decision making that you do so that you do not decide to stay an addict. But it comes with a fundamental personal accountability and a fundamental recognition that you want change. Now, making a statement before me, if you're trying to be positive and you're not trying to troll me, uh, if you recognize that you want to have a better future, your first step is to get yourself clean because no employer is going to hire you if they recognize that you are suffering from a drug addiction. So you get clean, literally, like stop doing the drugs, take you a shower, put you on some new clothes, and then go and try to find the type of job that you are capable of with whatever experience that you have. Now, understandably, some addicts have criminal records. Those criminal records limit them with the kind of jobs that they're capable of getting, but that does not change the fact that you can't find something doing something somewhere for someone for some legitimate money that will occupy your time so that you don't have to deal with the drugs. Now, I also know that a lot of people revert back to the drug addiction because of high levels of stress. While working with a therapist can only go so far, changing your environment can improve your stress levels. Because if whatever's got you frustrated and pissed off, you remove yourself from, you will less likely be frustrated and pissed off. Being unemployed might have you doing drugs because some people self medicate. So if you found yourself a job, you might motivate yourself to work. You might replace the addiction of the drugs with being a workaholic. Some people do that too, replace one addiction with another. But it's better to work all the time and make double overtime with the tax cuts that they're giving you for the overtime hours than it is for you to always be unemployed and doing whatever it takes to get drugs instead of getting a job and not having to need those drugs. Steven says, now that it is 2026, could you do a show sometimes looking at high yield savings accounts and their rates as they sit now? I covered the topic. I think you missed that show, and you do need to double back and look at high interest savings accounts. I covered the topic specifically because they did the tax cut on the 10th of no, they did the tax cut on the 12th of December. So the show I covered one show before the 10th and one show after the 10th. One show telling you that come that weekend that they were going to be doing that interest rate cut. And after that weekend, I did another show the week after telling you that they verified that they did the cut. Now, when they did the cut, the high interest insurance accounts are going to start progressively depreciating. Right now, they're right around 5%, but they will be going down soon because that decrease in interest rates is a perceivably expected to be a permanent decrease. They're not likely to increase the interest rates anytime soon. So over the next 2 to 3 months, your high interest savings accounts, your money market accounts, your CDs are going to lose interest rates. They're going to go down from 5, they're going to go down to 4, some are going to go down to 3. So because your bank account, your high interest bank account is a variable rate, even if you get one now, in 3 months, the interest rates might depreciate because they can change it whenever they want to since it's a variable rate. Under contract, if you get a CD right now before the rates depreciates, it'll be locked into that rate for the next 12 months if you get a 12-month scenario. If you get the government bonds, because they're going to also be impacted by this, if you get the government bonds, the interest rates will be locked in at whatever you get them in right now. And for however many years you have it, it'll be locked in at that rate with tax deferred. But once it matures, the next time you get it, it's going to be at whatever the new interest rate is. So um Tuesday, since I actually haven't really put anything up there for Tuesday, now that I think about it, I can cover a lot of information about bank accounts since you asked. Um, but it's going to a lot of that information is going to be a repeat from both of the interest rate shows since it is directly related to the interest rates that have changed. But I'll do that for you so that you can kind of get an understanding as to what the banking situation looks like right now in 2026. But I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to do this for y'all for a couple of minutes. I should have set these bad boys to a timer. I didn't set them to a timer, but we're going to put them. Hold on. We're going to start with this one. These are some stocks, and I took the time to write them out for you. Going across the bottom of the screen if you're looking at me on 16 by 9 format, and going across the top of the screen if you're looking at me from the shorts reel. These are some of the stocks. And then when that list wraps around, I'm going to show you the other list of stocks. We got about 54 stocks up here. And you can watch the show on Tuesday and Monday because those stocks will be running across the bottom of the screen all day. You can rewatch the show while I'm talking about it in this segment because the show is always on replay after the show stops being live. And you can write down each of these stocks. And after you write down each of these stocks, you can go and look at I'm going to tell you how to handle this because this is the core satellite strategy that I was telling you guys about. And I give you guys updates on it on a regular basis. That on this core satellite, we have about 15 or 20 of the cheapest undervalued stocks that have the highest interest rates paid out upward above 15%, as much as 20%. You want to get all of those. We got the monthly payers and then the quarterly payers. You want to get those, the dividend payers, the ones that's going to pay you out just for holding the stock. Then we have the ones that cost a little bit more that are closer to 10% or 14%, and we got some that are 5% because we got Johnson and Johnson up there. That's a growth stock that pays dividends. We also have Bitcoin and a few other growth stocks that don't pay dividends. But we do have Oracle, which is going to be part of the TikTok deal that's going to happen in January on the 22nd if they sign off on it. And if you have Oracle stock before Oracle becomes part of the TikTok USA, when Oracle stock blows up, you will have Oracle stock and it is a dividend paying stock. It's going to grow, it's going to blow up from the growth, but it's also going to be paying dividends on a regular basis. So you can get, I'm going to tell you, start with 15 cash paying stocks, start with the cheapest one, work your way up to the more expensive ones. I've found some as low as $2.45, that as high as $25 that you can get. And then I found some that are between $60 and $200 a share that you can get. But I recommend that you get the cheapest ones first and work your way up to the bigger ones. And those stocks, even with the interest rate change, it's still going to average you more than 15 to 18% interest every year. And that's way better than 5% on a high interest bank account. You're still going to have to pay taxes on it either way. But the difference is that the stocks, no matter whether they rise or fall, as long as the company still exists, the amount of dividends they're going to give you per share is going to stay that way. I mean, until they splice the shares. But typically, the ones that we have right now, they're stuck in their ways. These are 25, 30-year stocks. They're blue chip stocks, cash dividend based stocks. And if they're paying you a specific quantity of money, 12 cents a share, 34 cents a share, for every share that you have, it doesn't matter if that share costs $1 or costs $1,000. What matters is that if you have 100 shares at 30 cents a share, you have $340, right? So, or $3,400 at 34 cents a share for 100 shares is $3,400. It's, you just gotta buy as many shares as you can afford and hold them, and then you can reinvest that back into the principal if you don't need it, plus whatever you add to it, which expedites growth of your portfolio's principal, so that the next time it pays out even more. You keep doing that over time instead of you chasing high interest savings accounts, trying to play the safe bet. You can run the stock market, use a little bit more volatility to make you way more money. Because do you want to put $100,000 in 5%, or do you want to put $100,000 in 18%? That's the question. Because $100,000 at 5% is going to give you $5,000. $100,000 at 18% is going to give you 18 grand. You know, you've got to think about that. But yeah, we'll cover that show tomorrow. Because as soon as we start talking about that, Bro Logic is going to dive back in and tell us about how gold is at $4,360. I verified it. It's right. But you guys have to. Oh, and speaking of, that would put silver right around $52. So if you're interested, get you some silver. Verify that too. But yeah, I'll cover it tomorrow. I'll not tomorrow. I'll cover it Tuesday. Since you asked, I'll cover it Tuesday. I have no problem covering it because I do double back on any topic that we have on the show and give you guys updates on any information that I gave you. Typically, the information that I'm giving you is evergreen information where the only thing that changes is the price. How to do it and where to do it at is fundamentally the same. We don't have very many companies going out of business right now. It's not COVID. So if the company is the best company to do it with right now, it's probably going to be the best company to do it with in the next like 6 to 9 months. Now, will the companies change their position in the next 10 to 15 years? Probably so, but we're going to still be here 10 to 15 years from now. So when we cover it, we're going to tell you what the change was. And we're probably going to warn you about the change the same way I warned you guys about the Bitcoin drop. And the Bitcoin drop. Here we are on the 3rd of January, and the Bitcoin's on a steady decline. I told y'all right before Christmas that was going to happen, that after that one spike before December 31st, the first, nobody's trading. On the second, everybody's selling, and everybody will be selling until the second or third week of March. No, the second or third week of April, everybody's going to be selling until the second or third week of April, because they sell until the second or third week of Q2, and then Bitcoin starts going back up. So now, right now, is not the good time to buy. Now is a time to watch them sell. Like April 14th, April 21st, that's a good time to start buying in, because it shouldn't get too much lower than that in April. And then if you want to ride the wave, you can ride the wave, because it'll start going back up in April. It'll go back down a little bit in May. It'll go up, go back down in June, right before the 4th of July, go up again, go back down again for school, go back up again, go back down one more time for Halloween, because it's going to be peak. It's going to be at its peak in Halloween. And that's when it's going to start going down quick. It's going to go down again right before Thanksgiving, go up a little bit, go down again right before Christmas, then go up again, and then go back down again right before New Year's Eve. And then it'll go back up again one more time. Well, technically it's going to go down one more time for Christmas Day and go up for New Year's Eve, not down. It's going to go up for New Year's Eve. And then the second it's going to go down. That's how that works. So that's the macro level changes of Bitcoin. I can't give you the intricate, like, moment by moment day trades of that. you're going to have to find you an expert or work with you some trade bots. But I can tell you that on a macro level, that's been the common trend for the past like 10 years that I've been watching it. So, I mean, unless the trends start changing, where we'll cut a story on it. When I told y'all don't get Bitcoin after October, it was going to dip, and then it took that 27% dip. All I could do was cover a topic about how I told you so. So you don't have to take my word for it. I tell you guys on a regular basis that I am just the catalyst for the questions, because you don't know what questions to ask if you don't have information to spark your curiosity. So I create the questions, but then you can turn around and ask the Google lady and go and verify those questions. And once you verify those questions with reinforced knowledge, then you can take action on the knowledge that you felt comfortable with. But once I tell you that something exists, it is your responsibility to go look and verify that it does exist exactly the way I said it, and then make changes in your life to accommodate what you're trying to accomplish with what you found out. Because while everything I get is common knowledge, or it could be common knowledge because you didn't know about it because you had tunnel vision in your life and you wasn't thinking about it. So once you saw this show, then you realized about like, oh damn, I could have done it a different way and still made a bunch of money. And that's why I tell you about that stock option, because if you get the stock option and you're averaging 17% between the 18 and 20% stocks and the 14 and 15% stocks, and you're averaging 17%, when you take out the 4% for inflation and 3% for taxation, you're still making 10% after taxes and everything to that effect. And the difference between walking away with 10% and being taxed on 5%, you're making way more money doing it that way. And then you could take the interest and put it into the 5% emergency fund. But that's the money, that's the profit off of your principal. And when you start building your principal so that your principal is paying you more money than your standard of living, you're working on your job because you want to. You don't have to quit your job. When you know that your stock portfolio is paying for your standard of living and you're going to work because you feel like it, you have a whole nother don't give a fuck kind of attitude, because you're not here because you have to be. You're here because if you didn't show up, you wouldn't have anything to do at your house. You have a more positive attitude. And with that more positive attitude, you have the capabilities of standing on a non negotiable expectation for behavior with your employer, which means that if they're not going to show you the respect that you deserve, if they're not going to pay you what you know that you're worth, you can quit that job because your standard of living is already covered. But if you need the paycheck from this employer, even if they don't pay you enough, you're going to come to work and put in extra time so that you can pay for your standard of living because you don't make enough money otherwise. So now you're undervalued and underpaid, underappreciated, and you're frustrated. You hate that, and that resentment is going to come with you to the job. Your boss isn't going to like it. They're going to talk to you about it on a regular basis, and now you're on the ropes of potentially losing your job when you're the best worker on the job. You're just pissed off that they don't value you. But if you made enough money where you could get paid in your sleep, you would not have to go to work on that bullshit ass job. You would have a better life. This is why I tell you, the cash stock is not the only way. It's just the best way to get started, because you can take the profits from the cash stock and pay for other ideas. If you continuously get money from the principal of your investment, your principal never moves anywhere, but your investment continues to grow. You can use that to buy gold, silver, platinum, uranium, lithium, ion. You can take that and invest it in real estate and use that to turn rental properties into cash flow. You can use that cash flow to buy into Bitcoin. You can use that Bitcoin to buy into something else. But the best way to start as a paycheck to paycheck person in America is to put your money into a stock option. That's going to pay you every month. That's the best way to go. And with the change in the market right now, and we're going to have a big shift come November 23rd, I think it is. We're going to have a big shift with new people in the House, new people in the Senate. Your money's going to change. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. It's best for you to put your money in a place where your money's making money for you, regardless of how the country changes. Then you take the profits as your backup plan to put it somewhere else. Because if you take the profits from your principal and you put it somewhere and the money doesn't make any money for you, guess what? Next month you get the same quantity of money to do it all over again. Do you want to invest your principal on a hope and a prayer, no guarantee, And if you fail, it's gone. And now you got to work to get the principal back. Or do you want to take the interest off the principal, try something out, and if it doesn't work, you get another stack of cash, you try it out again. Try something else out. Think about this before we wrap things up. Donald Trump went bankrupt 6 times before he became a billionaire. I just let you marinate on that for a second. Donald Trump went bankrupt 6 times before he became a billionaire. You can try and fail and make yourself financially successful, but it only works if you still got money to fall back on and try again. If you spend your principal, you ain't got shit until you build money up. Because one thing that I'm going to tell you that most gurus are going to tell you, most life-changing people are not going to tell you, is that you still, no matter what you say, are going to need money to make money for you, whether it's your money or you're going to need money to make money for you. That's hard to say. It's tough. But because you're going to need money to make money for you, the best thing that you can do is start by building your own bank, build your own cash avenue, and then start using that to cover your primary expenses so that you can invest more into the principal of your own bank. Then you rely on yourself to fund your ideas first. Then the person that is going to give you loans and advancements and everything to that effect, they're going to be providing you with capital based on your already self-sustainable model. You can show them that it works because it's still running, whether they give you money or not. You're only asking them for money to expand it and make more money. So, and then when you think about it, shit, they're giving you, some places is giving you, because we covered this video as well on capital loans. You can get working capital loans based on the money that's coming in. You can get lines of credit against your stock portfolio or any investment portfolio. And if you're getting dividends from the stock option, you can actually use the dividends to pay back the line of credit. Where if you had $250,000, they would give you about 70% of that, but you could borrow against the stone $150,000 or $175,000 to make a big investment, not use your stock option, take the dividends, pay on that money that you borrowed, which is a tax write-off, buy what you wanted to buy cash up front, and that helps you expand on your idea right there. So just being able to build on a stock option that will give you the opportunity to leverage your stock option to pay for stuff cash up front so that you don't got to ask the bank for money. Because they're not doing a credit check on you. They're not doing a hard credit pull when you have $250,000 in stocks. This is leverage the stocks. And then pay it back with the money from the stock. Especially if you got your own job. You ain't really got to worry about it. And you can pay it off quick. Because you can take all the money off the stock and put it straight on the loan, pay the loan off quick, then borrow some more money. As long as you're taking the money from the stock and putting it on a loan, that's tax deduction. People don't think about this stuff, but this is how the rich get richer. And this is why the poor stay poor, because we don't think about this. When we get our paycheck, we pay all of our bills first, and then we impulse buy. That's it. We pay all of our bills first, and then we impulse buy. We impulse buy for personal entertainment. We impulse buy to please our spouse. We impulse buy. We impulse buy to please our children. We impulse buy. We impulse spend to help family members who make bad decisions, but we never recoup those losses because you're spending the principal. So it's gone. You got to go back and earn it again. We need to change our mindsets to the millionaire mindset of spending 30% of the money that comes in and investing the other 70. I know that's hard to come by. Not everybody can do it. But if you figure that out between you and your partner, to live off of 30% of the money that comes in from the total household and invest the other 70%, you will find yourself far from broke and early retirement in 10 years and over a millionaire in 20. And when you think to yourself how much bullshit you think I'm talking right now, ask yourself how much of your standard of living is legitimate expenses, not luxury, not the pleasures of life, not frivolous entertainment, necessity. And then you'll come to see that you wasting a shit ton of money every year. And that's what I'm here to change. So, with that being said, I'm going to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, I'm going to give y'all this information to make y'all higher value men. Y'all just need to do like I said earlier tonight and change the decisions that are inside of your control and navigate around the things that are outside of your control. Ladies, while this is a male driven podcast from the male's perspective, y'all too can make yourselves higher value women. You just have to prioritize yourself, accountability and responsibility. And then partner yourself with somebody who's going to make the same decisions that you would make towards the betterment of yourself. Because, ladies, a man that is on your level is a man that's capable of doing what you are capable of doing for yourself. So just because you got it, don't mean he can't get it. If he's got the capabilities to take over your financial obligations, then you've got more money to invest on y'all's future. It's not about telling him that you don't need him because you could have done it by yourself. It's about you thanking him because even though you didn't need him, he's doing it by himself. And you greatly appreciate that. And you're going to reciprocate that by investing in something that y'all can share. I also did a show about trust where y'all can create a trust to put your assets in, make yourself both beneficiaries of the trust, and then issue yourselves out of a percentage of the money in the beneficiary. In the trust. If you set up a stock option under the trust name, and then you give yourself, each of you get an equal share of the trust that's less than 50% of the trust, where the remaining interest that's made off of the trust is reinvested back into the trust to grow the trust. And then you put each other on life insurance for the trust. So if somebody passes away, that life insurance money goes into the trust and reinvests into the stock option. Then you can set up the type of trust where you guys, whoever survives, is going to have a standard of living that doesn't need for nothing. And when you have kids, your kids are going to need for nothing. And if you put life insurance policies on the kids, if y'all have a Kobe Bryant moment, whoever survives is going to have unlimited expectations because they don't need for nothing. Then you just got to take my show that teaches everybody about financial responsibility. I told y'all I covered a lot of topics. Now, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. Make sure y'all swing by tomorrow because we got a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about. My name is Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.